I've not caught a spearfish. That's one that's starting to really piss me off.
Hey everyone, John here from the Cast of Spirit podcast, and today we have our final episode with Steve Wozniak, the number 4 world record holder according to IFGA, and not the Apple guy. We're going to do a little Q&A, a little rapid fire question and answer, and he's going to cover things like what are his favorite rod, reel, and line, his favorite fish to eat, and more. I hope you're excited because this was an awesome way to end an amazing series with Steve, and hopefully we could have him back on the podcast in the near future. If you have any questions that you want me to ask him on the next time, definitely let me know. But without further ado, welcome back, Steve Wozniak. Number 1, what's your favorite rod, reel, and line?
Oh, geez. As far as a brand of rod, Loomis. As far as brand of reel, Shimano. Line, platypus, because I just like platypuses. I have no particular reason. I think there are some crappy lines, but once you get into these braids, whether it's Power Pro or whoever, I think they're fantastic. In terms of one rod, and again, I'm such a generalist, but Loomis's, HSR, they're 7'6", 6 to 12 pound hot shot rod, which is like a real ultra fast light tip, but kind of a good solid 8 to 10 pound class rod otherwise, and a 3,000 reel on that. Is probably the most fun I've had because you screw up and catch an enormous catfish, you're still going to land it on that, but it's also got light enough tip to really have fun with anything else you might hook. So that would be a short answer on that.
Perfect. What's your favorite fish you've caught out of all the ones that you have?
Coral trout.
Where would somebody find those ones?
They're all over the Indo-Pacific. I've caught them, Australia. It's a great barrier reef thing, but there are other places in the Indo-Pacific. But the big classic orange coral trout with the bright blue markings, it's a type of grouper. It's also called a coral leopard grouper. I read about those as a kid in an encyclopedia. I remember seeing, I never forgot it, and it just seemed like something that somebody, I could never do it. It's not, we grew up, in good circumstances and all that. It just, the idea of going halfway around the world and catching this amazing thing just always appealed to me. And then the first trip I actually set up to do that, should be like 2002, we got completely blown out. Like there was no chance to get out of the harbor. So I actually got one on my second trip back there, which is when we get into the whole stupid persistent thing. But they are super great. If you find them, it's like any grouper. It's gonna hit the hell out of it. It's gonna grab and run for a hole. And your job with a marlin, okay, is to keep reeling while the captain backs up, over a half a mile of line. Okay, the thing's not gonna. If you can stay connected, you are going to catch that fish eventually. The job of the grouper is to stop it from going 7 feet. So, you've got to shut that thing down now, which is why heavy braid can be so much fun. And that's just a thrilling fight to me.
So what fish are you still dreaming about? Or is it that one that you stop by on the way home all the time?
That is more of an annoying, that it's something everybody else catches by accident. So I will sooner or later. Mm-hmm. But there's a goblin shark, which is a super deep water thing like that is probably doable in Japan. Frog shark, just another just bizarre, black water shark species. I'd love to get a taimen in Mongolia. It's a huge member of the trout family that gets, prodigious sizes, like the records are close to 100 pounds. I've not caught a spearfish. That's one that's starting to really piss me off. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. But that's one that's, because I am, if there was a commercial application for spearfish repellent, I could make a lot of money at it, because I can be on a boat where people are catching them. I can be there when, they've come up and hit the baits, but I just cannot seem to get one on the hook and land it. And so that's, and I know if I keep going to Hawaii in the spring, I'm going to eventually stumble into one, but good grief. That one's been a pain.
Are you talking about the shortbill spearfish?
Yep. There's like 5 or 6 species of spearfish, but I'd take any of them. That's the only thing between me and the IGFA Royal Slam on the billfish. I have every other billfish.
Oh, man. Now I can see where the annoyance is. You're so close.
Yeah.
And I think the last question would be, do you just only do catch and release, or do you eat fish? And if you do, which one's your favorite?
So I'll eat, if it's practical, I'm not going to take something home in my suitcase, but, if I love to eat fish. And so if we're someplace it's practical to have one prepared, I'm all in. Coral trout is, again, a beautiful fish to eat. All those groupers, and some of the snappers like Nanny snapper or red emperor over in, again, that's like Australia, have just been phenomenal meals. Around here, halibut and salmon are pretty hard to beat. But yeah, in terms of fish, I would seek out any of those small to medium-sized groupers are pretty darn awesome.
Do you have any asks of our audience, and how can they get in contact with you?
So the easiest way to find me is probably my blog, which is 1000 fish, 1000 fish at WordPress.com. But my name's Steve Wozniak. I'm not the Apple guy, just to end that mystery. If you just Google Steve Wozniak Fishing or Steve Wozniak Fishing blog, you'll find my blog. You can contact me through that. And it's easy. And I look at that stuff every day and try to respond to folks as quickly as I can. As long as there's nothing vulgar or stupid in there. You will occasionally get people who just send the strangest things. I've got a guy who believes that he's caught bigger fish than most of my world records, and so I should apparently call the IGFA and kill myself. But yeah, I love talking to other fishermen, and so anybody's welcome. And then I certainly if they want to go someplace, chances are I've been there and will have run into a contact. And I think that's one of the great things about species hunting and fishing in general is people in general, and this sort of excludes bass fishermen because nobody wants to give up their spot. But, people will help each other. Somebody went to Kenya before I did and had a really good suggestion on, where to stay and guides to go with and all that. And it was just awesome because if I'd had to figure it out on my own, I never want to be the first guy to fish someplace. That's not what I'm about or my ambition. Because it'll go horribly wrong. And so, you kind of figure, I'm certainly willing to help folks because folks have helped me so darn much.
All right, that does it for this episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. This was an amazing opportunity to just pick the brain of somebody so dedicated to fishing, and I really appreciate Steve's time. Please show him some love. Go to his site, 1000fish.wordpress.com, and just say hi. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast and tell 3 friends about it so we can help grow this thing to be the best fishing podcast on the web. If you haven't already done so, please sign up for the Cast and Spear newsletter. Just go to castandspear.com, wait for the pop-up, and enter your email, and you'll get straight to your inbox the latest videos and articles that we release on a weekly basis. With that in mind, keep those lines tight, everyone. See ya.